Abusia Yamamako Basonko so about POG Media so. Meso Safin Wabaswa. Obe like and was subscribe and nothing so at my share Jumedino. I'm a from soon sa to me aka. And some elko my Ghana mo yen so ya de penny say. Brano no. Ya be me a bit for the echo and the airba. Na the some and elko so political highway so. Eye Kelvin Eko Bedutela and the din sembia babetuja efa Parliament House and hon sensema sorry or my mu ate say Supreme Court and the Parliament AD Rusie gidigidi and Kelvin Taylor echemu say Parliament House eye independent body enti say asem mi say esi wo Parliament House Supreme Court any hon kwan bia say or interfere in Parliament House affairs. Esan say the Speaker of Parliament no dia already Parliament mbrema ewom say o declare some seats be vacant no dia ewo Parliament House mbrema omudi bu embra ana say ekoso ewo Parliament House na end day na che say omotena that Parliament House assembly so we na Justice Chief Justice Torkono ababe betray NPP big time achese titiru afenyoma akena maame no ababe true ni support ama aban babe na watch say the papa ne ye no eye nembra so no na mu Supreme Court omu need to me say omu interfere in Parliament affairs they see what Parliament no ye can no Parliament achese NPP amayuku no aso ayehye papa na chese Speaker declare NDC as the majority in Parliament no there as it stands no akwakoye embra or Parliament House Chief Justice say oni ho asem bia aka ama highway ni so aye butubutu entime nche won kran mepesa be defo be me akone akwakoti de course ni be nansa na be kono meso so won sem kai bia de be share comment section wo like share ma foforo so nsa enka dwumade ni bi medamase
spend time on it because listen, Parliament is an independent body. Make their laws, and they have the right to argue over their laws, and they have the right to make sure they make that law they passed effective. Parliament is independent enough that it guides it. And we don't need anybody to tell Parliament what it has to do. Parliament, it's its own boss. And at the end of the day, nobody committed a crime in Parliament for us to go to the Supreme Court. What crime was committed in Parliament? A DNC or Parliament into mean solving. So for somebody to leave Parliament and be part of Parliament, to leave Parliament to go seek help from outside Parliament, that person does not respect Parliament. That is what we need to understand. Let's say, for somebody who is part of Parliament, who is part of the laws they make in Parliament, who is part of the standing orders of Parliament, to leave Parliament to say that we as an independent body make laws, make sure the laws work, leave Parliament to go and seek knowledge outside, to think that knowledge will be able to control Parliament. That person does not even deserve to be in Parliament. It means the person does not even respect Parliament in the first place. Then it means that Parliament you are part of, you don't respect it to make decisions that will basically help you in Parliament. So it means you will underestimate Parliament, the power it has. Into this issue of Parliament, as some Akopie Supreme Court is a big deal. Judges were appointed by Akuffo. In the first place, if I'm the Chief Justice, which I am not, I would tell the parliamentarians to say, what has happened in Parliament, is it a crime? Can it be solved in Parliament? Are you guys not independent enough? Do you have a speaker? If your speaker makes any pronouncement, do you have any way in Parliament to at least question the speaker's pronouncement? Because I know that when Alban Bagbin makes a statement in Parliament, it is not final. Parliamentarians can still use the rules and regulations in Parliament, the standing orders, to question the speaker. And there's been several occasions where speakers have passed a judgment on something and come back to say, this parliamentarian raised an objection and I think he made sense. And that the ruling has been quashed. I just want us to look at this again. That's it. So, a DNC or Parliament are so crazy. We need to get to the Supreme Court. Did anybody shoot anyone? Did anybody commit murder in Parliament? As far as to say, somebody can still rise up in parliament to actually tell the speaker that, your speaker, Mr. Speaker, the decision you took, in fact, from what I am seeing, from what we also have here that binds at, I think you made a mistake. In fact, it can be an argument that at the end of the day, both sides can make for the speaker to either rescind his decision or keep his decision. So what is it about a parliamentarian going to Supreme Court? The moment you leave Parliament to go to Supreme Court, to go seek for interpretation of what Parliament has decided, then you, that parliamentarian, you don't respect the Parliament you are in. You don't. And that is what these NPP guys don't understand. And that is what Ťěňši0n does not understand. And that is why I have so much pain in my heart that the Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice, in less than 5 hours, can put together a committee and say, I am the chair of the committee. Have what you want. There's a problem. That is where I have the problem. And yet, the AC say obia to me. But for the Chief Justice, because I don't think, say, if there's an issue in the Supreme Court, if there's an issue in the Supreme Court, I don't think, and I know there are so many times, there's been disagreements between the judges in the Supreme Court on issues, but you never heard any Supreme Court judge say that I disagree with the Chief Justice on this decision, so I am going to Parliament to seek interpretation, or I am writing a petition to the President for the Chief Justice to be summoned. I've never heard anything. Supreme Court judges, the judges know that they have to, at the end of the day, no matter how difficult an issue is, they have to find a way to solve it. So why can't parliamentarians do that? Now, for one part of Parliament to always be running to the Supreme Court, it means the extension of the executive has gotten to the Supreme Court. Because that person or that group, they know they cannot run to the Jublee House. It will be too clear. So what they have to do is to seek help from the Supreme Court, which basically is an extension of the executive. So when you see NPP4 from Parliament running to the Supreme Court, they are going for help from Akuffo, because every single person who matters in the Supreme Court was employed by Akuffo. I feel bad when Chief Justice Madam Torkono sits down and makes sure, say, this carnage happens. It means the Chief Justice, in the first place, is giving parliamentarians the room to disrespect the Speaker of Parliament. True. Because if the Chief Justice really respects the Speaker of Parliament, she will question Ťěňši0n that the ex-party you've been brought shows that there's another part who don't agree with you on what you have brought here. And that go back. You are not the only people in Parliament. Sit with your leader and make sure the right thing is done. Because the Speaker's pronouncement is not the end of everything. Still, the NPP had room to argue their case. That is why you have standing orders. You have ways and means to get your case made and listened to. So for the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, to say, yes, Ťěňši0n, you have come. Thank you. When my father died, you actually handled the funeral. And that right now, I have been a slave to you. I am a slave to you. So whatever you want, take it. It means the Supreme Court itself does not respect the Speaker of Parliament. Let me tell you, there's law, we all understand. And it's not Hanatete Ebusa, the Speaker of Parliament, the Supreme Court Chief Justice say, this simple question. That's why Hanatete was asking Madam Torkono, say, do Supreme Court justices consider public opinion? And Nuntina, Hanatete Ebusa Chief Justice say, the Supreme Court does it actually consider so how they feel about things? Because you being at the Supreme Court, everything is not supposed to be about you. And also, everything is not supposed to be about the law. It is about the people your judgment is going to affect. And it's they do sometimes, case Supreme Court, etumika say, sa case way, because of the sentiments out there, because the majority of the people don't like it, even though the law says we should do this, the sentiments of the people and the democracy we want to maintain and not bring chaos, we are going to stick to the opinion and sentiments of the people. It is sometimes, the Supreme Court always judge things with the common sense. So we are judge, you're robot. You also need to look outside the feeling of the people, because a judgment can cause more harm. Sometimes some judgment that you think it is right, it turns out to destroy a nation. That is why the public sentiment, the public opinion is important as a judge. So you ask yourself, did the Chief Justice consider the public opinion on this matter? Because we are talking about representation in Parliament. Every single person in Parliament represents a Ghanaian or Ghanaians. Did the Chief Justice consider Ghanaians? No. She considered what Ťěňši0n has done for her. Ťěňši0n yede papa yie ma no. Oni Ťěňši0n was very good rapport. Oni president ne di nkomo. In less than 4 hours, she needs to put together a committee to pass.
Abushia enti nsɛm no mu bi ene ekokotie no na Kevin Ekwabedu Taylor de toaso a wɔhwɛ sɛ eye Speaker of Parliament Aban Babin eka sɛ okay me yam adwuma meta Parliament House me the Parliament mbra ena eye adwuma de obi eka bia ni hwa me dey metia de ena Supreme Court ebetime eye Aban Babin esan sɛ ruling na ekoso no ade a ewo Parliament House mbrem enti sɛ Aban Babin ka sɛ okay Chief Supreme Court ruling now omoka say on twentwen ewo ni ruling na ekoso wo Parliament House no so if he isan say omo ho asem ka no na say Speaker of Parliament ka say oni obi ani asem ya aka ni ruling ni eye final den na eye Supreme Court omo be Aban Babin ombeche no and I say on be shut down a Parliament House say and some Kevin Ekwabedu Taylor de toaso no na and some no anu wedding na or saka toaso a watch say a idea a judges are a Supreme Court no or more ya you too political. Essence and another than Akuffo and appointee omoninti asema ehun hia bia no mo pese eko in favor of MPP party no and so enadia Ghana ha ebekoso wa hada ende anase ochina de asi atwam de enkoba de aka yanim ye de nya de omo NDC amayoku no omo betwea ama eye Supreme Court da omo ho no mo de awura politics mu na bibi ompese eko in favor of MPP no nya de a ebekoso asi achese eni bring sama Kevin Ekwabedu Taylor de to aso no na ensem no eye hit enti me pese abidwa force abem yakọ akotie de to aso no.
What is this? If Alban Bagbin tries to show respect to the Supreme Court and say, I respect the Supreme Court and I respect my position, so I'll stick to my decisions, what is the Supreme Court going to do? Let's say Alban Bagbin decides to show respect to the Supreme Court and say, I'm not going to do anything to destabilize our democracy, to destabilize the pillars of government. I'm going to respect the Supreme Court. I'm going to stick to my position and make sure I do my job. Whatever I'm doing here is what I'm concentrating on. I'm not going to think about anything. What is the Supreme Court going to do? Are they going to arrest Alban Bagbin? Is the Supreme Court going to give order that we should shut down the Parliament? No. But the President, Supreme Court, has said, it is not good. The Chief Justice has been an embarrassment. And this is something that we need to talk about. The Chief Justice, Madam Torkono, has been an embarrassment. She has been too political. She is becoming too political. I don't have a problem if Akuffo appointed you. But the people, the public, how they see you, you don't. Then it means you are not working for the people. It means you people in the Supreme Court, you are working for some people. They are what? Political greediness or their selfishness. That's what you're doing. Because if I'm the Chief Justice, I will tell Ťěňši0n that, you know something, we have less than 60 days to elections. I'm the Chief Justice here. I'm also Ghanaian. I know the tension in the system. Whatever has erupted in Parliament can be solved by Parliament. Go there, talk to your speaker, meet the opposing side, and solve that problem. At this point, we don't need that chaos. You kill this matter. But for some reason, Chief Justice in less than 5 hours is able to put 5 judges together, including herself. Let's make a judgment. And what do you get from it? Let's say Alban Bagbin says, I'm Speaker of Parliament. I want to test the law. I will still hold on to the position. My statement states, what are you going to do? are you going to give another order that we should shut down parliament? No. No. You don't do that. You don't disrespect the people like that. Madam Torkono, this is embarrassing. This is the lowest point of our judiciary. I thought you were going to do better than Enin Yabua. Enin Yabua was trash. You were coming in as a woman. We thought that you had something special. You had sympathy, empathy. You were going to live above the men. But you have become so bad, so political, so dirty in court. You have basically made the ordinary Ghanaian who had no knowledge about judiciary even question your level of intelligence as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. And this is all because you have involved yourself too much in this petty party politics. A time. I don't care about the decision Alban Bagbin will take. I don't care. What I care about is December 7, Ghana Fund for John Mahama and the NDC MPs, for NDC to take full ownership of this area in government and take responsibility and take decisions. We cannot rely on the Supreme Court. From what we have seen, the Supreme Court is not there to help any Ghanaian. The executive led by Akuffo is dangerous. So we are, as Ghanaians, we need to make decisions. And it's going to make catch Ghana from the beginning. Okay? Ghana, your problem, you know. The problem, you know, it is the NPP in Parliament. Hey, from January 7, 2017, be seen there. Everything they could for the planning, you know, or use Parliament or the NPP. And let me tell you something. The NPP hang Parliament near Ohono. NPP lost the elections because they got Antinomunya hang Parliament. No, it is not because they won hang Parliament. Parliament now 136 was the end of Hosano. It is because the NPP lost. And it was our Parliament. No, so from day one, the NDC has always. You people all know. It is because they lost. Entina your hang Parliament. No, and if Sankaye di nukura anka was NDC and a majority in Parliament. Some names are. Yes. But you see, what we need to understand and say, afenyoma kene MPP for the omu yeni nyinano, it is because the executive need to mean yet. It is because Akuffo end to mean yet. They are using afenyo and the NPP, our more Parliament, to do the executive dirty work. Into every bad thing we are saying in Ghana today, executive Akuffo the intentions no, but when I want to implement here because cookie idea no Jublee House. Akuffo don't mean Parliament and pass him ra. Akuffo don't mean anti Parliament and because win. He will have to use parliamentarians. And it's a very critical. So what to aba I'm our presidential candidate. I also to aba man or now to aba man MP because. Ukoto Obama a mad presidential candidate say Akuffo, this is what you get. Every NPP MP is mad because they are licking the butt of Akuffo. Everything they do there is because instructions from Jublee House. It is a president in Jimmy. You have a parliament that is full of MPP MPs somewhere Jimmy. You see, sometimes you ask yourself, now NPP for the e-levy buy no cookie free, Jublee House the cookie, and yet one of the buy over that Bawumia. Betting tax, one of the buyer, Jublee House, Ofuriata, Finance Ministry. Every single thing that MPP MPs are in the Parliament, if you Jublee House. It is said, one for to me, I'm a John Mahama, and some for MP Nanka. No one take a right decision. You have no peace. Or problem, a woman than a bear bigger. It is all to a bar. So I get them blouse in the conversation. I'm telling you. The constitution needs to be changed. I understand. But we have not exhausted the constitution. Are you now going to say we should go and amend the parliament? Parliament is parliament. Because the constitution is not being fair and the parliament too has too much power. Oh, Supreme Court too has too much power. Executive has too much power. Today I want to ask you, the executive and the Supreme Court, why no power than either the other one? Into more, I'm calling for an amendment of the constitution. Should we go and amend the Supreme Court? Because you are calling for amendment of the powers of the president. Should we amend the powers of the Chief Justice? And after that, should we go and amend the powers of the Speaker of Parliament? No. It is because we have a government and a president. They are stupid. They are mad. They don't understand and respect the constitution, the laws governing this nation. That is what we need to deal with. Because from 1992, we have had presidents. So why today are we blaming the constitution too much? It is because these fools are taking advantage of the constitution. And these are people we don't need to let them come close to power. Until you vote them out, you take them out of power. And you get people who will respect you, respect the constitution, and then we build. Until as you sit here now, say Otu Abama John Mahama now go to Abama NDC MPP it is worse. And into you in there now just saying NDC our full authority or majority in parliament as no. I feel me say Sanka NDC our presidency and more full majority in parliament as Supreme Court. No, it is when you give power to Obia undeserved power. No, 99% of NPP MPs or parliament, they are not working for you. They are working for Akuffo. E-levy, then taxes from the it is from Jublee House. Into President Jimia, you will have members of parliament who are foolish. Yes. And it is imperative. Say Abana Yakotuno, we look at voting for John Mahama and voting for the NDC MP. That is the only way we can save this nation. That is the only way. Say one yanisa obwa. Yabeche we atum, yabesa Ghana, Ghana ye obwa, nothing will work. It's a clear example. The Ohun of Parliament, a clear example. The Ohun of Parliament. Now, when you even read
Abusia into winning sama a course or highway in his ratchet. Kevin Okawbedu Taylor, Wababa to Tubiama, a Supreme Court judges are what you say, a dear a parliament house or more independent body. It is a speaker the new ruling about war Supreme Court only right be as a over question. Na cases abama nimbe even LGBTQ ababeto bela beto enyende. And so be seen the Muntimen Sanye, Chief Justice Torkono intimate share, and Monka say, die you with your see can was him, Trumu Yan Jin to Morgana, be seen the uncan was him. But Parliament House and send by idea, Master Regina. It's an say air co, what per se a co in favor of MPP Ninti, Master Regina. That's a summer funum into Sebi Moba, and was some animal some animal person will be Chile, Ghana, Yetman, Fatese, and Sama Kevin Taylor the Betujano, not and some no air and the Brissom. In Tabusha Madam as some J. Penny Mukuti, a year and Sama, a course or political highway. So, aha, a POG Media, Madam Assy.